Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is September 20th, 2023, and advancing in the Champions League will be an economic must for Barcelona, and I will tell you why by breaking down all the numbers. Also, Deco was recently, or right after the Champions League match, was asked about whether Barcelona are interested in Arthur Vermeeren, and even though he did not specifically confirm that, he has not ruled it out either. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News' official live stream, which is on every Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today, I started at 7:30. I do apologize for the delay, but today's slides took a little bit longer to make and to load because there are a lot of numbers, a lot of number breakdowns that I will be discussing in today's live stream. Now, as always, I will do a segment of news, and then we'll head to the chat section to get a discussion going, answer any kind of questions. For those of you who will be watching the live stream once it ends, I will put chapters in the timeline and timestamps in the description so you can skip through the discussion if that's what you want to do. I know I always tell you this exact spiel all the time, but I still get questions every live stream. People will still comment, this video is so long. Your videos have gotten so long. And then I have to explain to them in the comment section. This is a live stream. Live streams are Mondays and Wednesdays. Regular videos are the rest of the week. You know, I've been doing these streams for 9-10 months now, and I still get comments on every single live stream. I just got one on Monday's live stream saying the same exact thing. So I do apologize for always having to repeat myself, but this is exactly why. Now, if you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure you hit the get back. And if you are looking for any sports bets, make sure you head to Bet Us. Both links are down below in the description. Now, let's begin with yesterday's amazing performance, the masterclass performance of Barcelona against Royal Antwerp, what was the first Champions League match where Barcelona won 0. I did a post-match live analysis. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go to the channel and check it out. I did promise in that live stream that I would make a news video last night. I apologize. I wasn't able to do one. I had to actually work and make up for the hours that I spent watching the match and doing the live stream. So I wasn't able to do any news videos, but don't worry. There wasn't much to report about anyway. In the very little bit of news that was from yesterday, I put it in today's live stream. So you will get all the news. You will be caught up by the time this live stream ends. Now, getting back to yesterday's match, because not only was it an absolute masterclass for the team, but there's some pretty interesting numbers that happened in yesterday's match, or pretty interesting statistics, which shows how far has Barcelona come under the new board and under the management of Xavi Hernandez, because yesterday's match against Royal Antwerp was the best start to the Champions League competition since 2016. So the best start in 7 years, back when it was under Luis Enrique, and Barcelona defeated Glasgow Celtic 7-0 in the first match of the Champions League. So it's been 7 years since Barcelona has had such a good start, with, of course, Barca winning 5-0 against Royal Antwerp. Another interesting statistic is that it's been 6.5 years since Barcelona has won 2 consecutive matches by a score of 5-0 or more. The last time Barcelona did that was in 2017, March 2017, under Luis Enrique, where Barcelona defeated Sporting Gijón 6-1. Then they defeated Celtic 5-0. Celta 5-0. And of course, the third match was that comeback against PSG, the legendary comeback, the best comeback in the history of the Champions League, which was 6-1. So it's been 6.5 years since Barcelona won 2 consecutive matches by 5-0 or more. Of course, we did win against Real Betis 5-0, and yesterday against Royal Antwerp. Now, Xavi was extremely happy with the team's performance, and this is what he had to say after the match. Of course, I'll blow this up for you so you can see it. But he said this is the best football we've had. Or actually, let me make it this much bigger. I'll see if the logo gets out of the way, or maybe not. Actually, I can actually turn off the logo. There we go. This is the best football we've played since I've been Barca manager. We have to keep up this amazing form. Everything was positive, and the crowd was right behind us. They went home happy knowing that we gave everything we had. But we need to be prudent and keep working hard. However, we're on the right track. We applied deep pressure throughout and played great positional football. 100% I agree with Xabi's statements. I think it was some of the best football we've seen. I don't know if the best since he arrived as a manager. I do recall that match against Real Madrid in the Spanish Super Cup where Barcelona played just like yesterday. And even though yesterday's performance might have been a little bit better, I think that one against Real Madrid counts more because, after all, it was Real Madrid. It was the final. But nonetheless, beautiful football, beautiful positional football where the team kept the pressure that entire match. And that was the best part for me. Not only the beautiful football that Barcelona played, but the fact that once the team came out of the locker room once the second half began, the team was already up 3-0. Antwerp were pretty much done. And yet the team were still pressuring, were still attacking, was still generating chances, and they still scored 2 more goals, which absolutely shows the total spirit of this team, because they could have easily just came out second half, passed the ball around, messed around, but instead they kept going. So I really, really enjoyed that. And of course, Xabi touching on another important point, which is that we need to keep this up. I see fans already talking about Barcelona winning it all, winning the Champions League. We still have a very, very long road ahead of us. We still have another 33 matches in La Liga. We have 5 more in the group stages of the Champions League. The Copa del Rey hasn't even started. So we need to keep this up. There's still a long, long road ahead of us. Now, more interesting numbers from yesterday because Robert Lewandowski, he scored his 100th goal for in European champion competitions. In other words, Champions League, Europa League, UEFA Super Cup, etc. And the breakdown of those 100 goals are as follow. He scored 6 goals in 60 matches for Lech Poznan, 18 goals out of 36 matches for Dortmund, 69 goals in 79 matches for Bayern. Here's a very interesting number, which is 7 goals for Barca in 8 matches. I did not know that Lewandowski had scored that many goals in such few matches for Barca. Now, with this 100th goal in European competitions, Lewandowski has joined a group of elites of football, which is Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, with Cristiano Ronaldo having 145 goals in European competition, Messi having 135, Lewandowski now having 100, which of course he could still increase that tally because he is the only one still competing in European competition, with Ronaldo of course being in the Saudi League and Messi being in the MLS. Now, one more interesting statistic about yesterday, and then we'll do the chat section. But let's talk about Joao Felix. Actually, I'll say it the right way. Joao Felix, because the man of the match, 2 goals and 1 assist. Brilliant performance by the Portuguese player, who has become the first player to score and assist in a Champions League match within 20 minutes since Lionel Messi in 2018 against Chelsea. So Joao Felix has already equaled a Leo Messi record or statistic, which is pretty amazing to do, especially since he's only been in Barcelona for 3 matches. This is not to say I'm comparing him to Messi. I would never dare to do that. I don't think anybody's comparable to Messi, but just a very interesting statistic which shows how well has Joao Felix landed in Barcelona and fit in this team. He's playing like he's been playing for Barcelona his whole life. It's also his first time to score an assist in a Champions League match, which again, amazing numbers. But let's head to the comment section and then, or chat section, whatever you want to call it. And then we will talk about the Champions League numbers and why Barcelona need to advance, not just for the footballistically speaking, but also. All right, and we have our first donation from Crispy Chicken. Thank you so much, Crispy Chicken. Crispy Chicken, if you guys don't know, he was the first one actually to ever make donation to Barca News in Barca News' history. So thank you again for the donation. He says, "Hi Mo, it's been a while. Love your content as always. Keep being goated. In my opinion, if both Joaos keep this up, we have to find a way to keep them both." Thank you for your comment. Thank you for your donation. And it's good to have you back again. I did know the live streams. But yes, hopefully we can keep both. Of course, as I reported many times before, rumor has it that Barcelona has negotiated options to buy for both players. Of course, we know about Joao Cancelo, that Barcelona had negotiated that 25 million euro option to buy with Manchester City, but they couldn't include it in the contract because of financial fair play restrictions. But it is rumored that that option to buy is still there. There's still an agreement between both clubs, despite not being on paper on the contract that was handed to the La Liga. And reports say that it's the same thing with Joao Felix. Of course, we don't know the numbers with that one, but it's rumored that, yes, Barcelona do have an option to buy in place. Of course, we're talking about Laporta. We're talking about Jorge Mendes. There's no way they didn't think about this option before they decided to make the signing happen. You know, these people are people who know exactly what they're doing. All right, let's see. David, who says, Mo, how come when Barca win 1-0, they struggle to win, but when Madrid scrape 1-0 with win in extra time, they show their fighting spirit? Welcome to Spanish Media. That's clear bias has been around for a very, very long time. This is nothing new. And it's always been the case all season. You know, Barcelona won a lot of matches last season by 1-0. And it was always like, wow, how terrible they are. Look, they're barely winning. And when Real Madrid would win, wow, they're so amazing. Look at that fighting spirit. So that's simple bias in Spanish media, which is one of the reasons why I decided to start this channel, because I was tired of the narrative and I wanted to give kind of a counter narrative, if you may. But thank you for your comment and good point and good observation. Brad says, if it wasn't for what's his name, they wouldn't have even won half their games this year. You're talking about Madrid. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I didn't watch the match today, but I'm not surprised that the ref waited that long until they scored. But nothing new. Let's get back to those, because Barcelona have an absolute necessity this season to advance in the Champions League and to get out of the group stages, not just because it's Barcelona's honor and because Barcelona need to be fighting out of the group stage every season and because they just got eliminated out of group stages for 2 seasons in a row, but the Champions League is an economic must for the club. Now, last season, Barcelona had budgeted in their economy to make it all the way to quarterfinals. Of course, they didn't. They were eliminated in group stages. They were sent to Europa League. We were eliminated out of that competition too. And Barcelona, as a result, had suffered a big economic loss. I think it was over 25 or 30 million euros that Barcelona lost that they had budgeted, which, of course, when you don't make what you budgeted for, that throws everything off, your whole finances, and of course, most importantly, your financial fair play rule restrictions. So Barcelona had to really make cuts, get new sponsorships, just to make up for the money that they didn't make eliminated in the group stages. So Barcelona cannot do that again this season. So advancing in the Champions League is an absolute must, not just from the footballistically speaking, but also from the economic standpoint. And more now than yet last season, because remember, this season we are playing in the Olympic Stadium, where Barcelona are set to lose around 60 to 70 million euros by playing in the Olympic Stadium, because obviously it's almost half the capacity of the Spotify Camp Nou. Now, what are the exact numbers and why does it matter that Barcelona do as well as they can in the Champions League? Well, I have those numbers for you too. Let's look at the numbers. Barcelona will get this season 50 million euros for participating in the group stages. So just by being there, Barcelona will get 50 million euros. It's going to be around 16 million euros for playing the group stages and about another 34 as a 10-year bonus because Barcelona have made it to the group stages for 10 years in a row. So 50 million euros right off the bat just by being there. Now, for each group stage win, Barcelona will get 2.8 million euros. So for the win yesterday against Antwerp, we got 2.8 million euros. If Barcelona were to win every single match in the group stages, they'll make around 17 million euros on top of the 50 million euros that Barcelona is already going to get if just by playing the group stages. Now, if Barcelona draw, they only get 1 million euro. So, and of course, if you lose, you don't get anything. So very important that Barcelona try to win every single match because there are 17 million euros on the line. Now, if Barcelona qualify to the round of 16, that's an extra 9.8 million euros that the club will get. And if Barcelona qualify to the quarterfinals, that's another 10.6 million euros that the club will get. So by playing the group stages, by winning every single match in the group stages, by making it to the round of 16 and the quarterfinals, Barcelona could potentially earn 87 million euros. That's a lot of money. And that's not even counting the TV rights. Of course, you could get even more money from that the further you go in the Champions League. Of course, there's stadium tickets. You know, if you make it to the quarterfinals and to round of 16, that's 2 more home matches. That's more ticket sales, merchandise, food, etc. So very, very important for Barcelona to make it to the quarterfinals because the club really need this money. This is, of course, setting aside footballing goals and sporting-wise that Barcelona need to get out of the group stages because we haven't done so in the last 2 seasons. Now, since we are on a topic of money, I will discuss this really shortly. But let's talk about Montjuic because I did mention that Barcelona are making less money. The good news is that Barcelona have been able to fill out Montjuic. The 3 home matches that we played so far against Antwerp, against Real Betis, and was it again? What was the match after Villarreal? I can't remember. Anyways, that's the point. So far, Barcelona have been able to fill out the stadium, which is really, really good news because Barcelona were very worried about being able to sell tickets. Since the club members were not buying season tickets, you know, they wanted to sell around 27,000 season tickets. They ended up selling, I think, 17,000, so way below the goal. They even had to discount tickets by a lot in order to get people in the stadium. So luckily, Barcelona have had really good numbers these last 3 matches. Idea how much we're making with the reduced capacity, we're making an average of 1.5 million euros per home match. Of course, this is a lot less than the Spotify Camp Nou, and it's even smaller amount because, of course, all the ticket discounts that Barcelona have had to implement in order to bring people into the stadium. So we're making around 1.5 million euros, so 5 million euros in the 4 matches that, or 3 or 4 home matches that Barcelona have had so far. But the good news is that the team has been performing, and if the team continues to, have no doubt that the Olympic Stadium will be sold out every single match because that's what people want to see. People don't go to the Olympic Stadium or to the stadium just to see, you know, random names or big signings. They want to see a spectacle. They want to see great performance. And that's what Barcelona has been doing. So that if the team continues to play like this, the Montjuic Stadium will continue to be sold out. And Barcelona do have a plan to adjust prices to no longer continue with the sales. So expect that 1.5 million euros per home match number to go up. All right. We have more donations. Another one from Crispy Chicken. And he says, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm feeling good about Barca this season. Hopefully we can compete with the best. Agree with you 100%. I have a really good feeling as well. I also don't want to get ahead of myself because it's still a long, long road, and we've only seen 2 matches. Sorry. Another donation by Crispy Chicken. Thank you so much, Crispy Chicken. You are freaking amazing. Crispy says, don't smash the like button, guys. And yes, please, don't forget to smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. And again, that like button, because like button actually goes a long, long way in helping this channel continue to grow. All right, Moose says, hey, Mo, I watched the Madrid game, and they should have only added 2 to 3 minutes, but being Madrid, they got 5. Of course, I am not surprised at all. That always happens every match. But what can we do? Brad says, if they sell individual tickets, they make more per ticket than for season tickets, right? Yes, but with season tickets, it's guaranteed income versus, individual tickets. You don't know whether people are going to show up or not. But we'll see. And Chuchu, who is late? Chuchu, you missed a lot. You missed some really interesting numbers about yesterday's match, and you missed the breakdown of the Champions League. All right, so let's get back to the news because we have to talk about this man who featured yesterday in the match between Barcelona and Royal Antwerp. Of course, Arthur Vermeeren, who's 18 years old, kind of a promising midfielder, one of the up-and-coming midfielders in Europe. Of course, I told you in a previous video that Barcelona had been tracking him. There's interest in the club. There's interest in the player on behalf of the club. But of course, for now, early scout reports are saying that Vermeeren might not be there yet. He still needs to develop. He still needs a little bit more experience before he can come to Barcelona. Now, after the match yesterday ended, Deco was asked about whether Barcelona are interested in him. And even though he did not confirm, he did have some interesting statements. He said that Barcelona scouts are still working hard to track the club are tracking several players, that the summer transfer market is closed, so now they have to focus on the current squad. So not really an answer. So then the reporter pressed Deco a little bit more and said, well, is Barcelona interested in him? Yes or no? And Deco smiled and didn't say anything. So this, of course, is not an absolute confirmation by Deco, but nonetheless, it tells you that there is interest by the club, because if there wasn't, he could have easily said, no, we're not. But all he did was smile and give, of course, your politically correct answer, if you may. So Barcelona still tracking Vermeeren. There's still interest, but again, scouts reports are saying that he still needs a little bit more experience, a little bit more development, because before Barcelona could make a move for him. Of course, Barcelona are in the market for a pivot, a long-term pivot. Yes, Oriol Romeo was just signed. He's definitely the starting pivot, no doubt about it. But club want a long-term solution because, after all, Oriol is 31, I think 31, coming up on 32. So eventually they will need to sign someone who's young for the long run. And Arthur Vermeeren is one of those options, as long as he does develop more and continues to show that promise that he's showing right now. All right, let's see. Let's get back to the new chat section, and then we will talk about Frenkie de Jong and a couple more players. I don't want to spoil anything. All right, Brad says, let's get ahead of ourselves. I think if we improve from here, we can compete with anyone in Europe, even in the UCL. Look, if the team continues to play the way they played against Real Betis and Royal Antwerp, then yes, we can compete. No doubt about it. But I don't want to get ahead of myself because, again, we've only played against Royal Antwerp and against Real Betis. Not to say that these teams are absolute trash or anything like that, not disrespect these teams, but of course, they're not the big guys. They're not Real Madrid, they're not Atletico Madrid, they're not Man City, etc. So if Barcelona can keep up this and they can play like this against big teams, then yes, we can compete. But let's see. Hopefully we can. I want to be pessimistic, but I also don't want to get ahead of myself. All right. A donation from Young Braveheart who says, thanks, Mo, and let's go Barca. Thank you again for your donation. Thank you for your comment. And yes, Visca Barca, and let's keep going with this energy. I love it. All right, let's see. What else? What have I, excuse me, what have I skipped? Let's see. Tejas says, do you think Xabi will stick to the 4-3-3 or go back to 4-4-2? I think he will stick to the 4-3-3, but against more aggressive or more attacking teams, if you may. I think he will go back to the 4-4-2, no doubt. Or if it's not the 4-4-2, then maybe he'll have three forwards, but then have Cancelo drop in the middle, kind of like he did in Real Betis, because Barcelona played with a line of four in the mid against Real Betis for most of the match, because Cancelo spent a lot of time in the midfield. So either do that, have Cancelo drop, or maybe do go back to our line of four against, of course, we're talking about teams like Real Madrid, teams who can cause a lot of damage with their attack. But for the rest of the matches, I think Xabi will keep the 4-3-3. Okay, let's get back to the news and let's talk about Frenkie de Jong with the interesting statements after the match. As I told you, Barcelona are hoping to extend the contract of Frenkie de Jong until 2028. It currently expires in 2026, so add 2 more years. And in doing so, they want to follow the same formula as Mark ter Stegen, where they would defer the salary of Frenkie the first few years and then reduce his salary towards the end of his contract and pay him that deferral on top of that. Because Frenkie de Jong right now is the highest earner, not only in Barcelona, but in the entire Spanish league. He currently earns 27, or will earn 27 million euros fixed this season. That's not including bonuses. That's not including variables. And of course, all of that is thanks to no other than Josep Maria Bartomeu, who gave him this ridiculous contract that's way, way, way above market value. Now, before yesterday, I had told you that Frenkie de Jong had told his agents that for now he wasn't really interested in talking about his contract. But after yesterday's match, he was asked by reporters about any contract renewal. And even though he did not give a yes or definitive yes or definitive no, he said, I'm leaving this up entirely in the hands of my agent. But I do have to say one thing, and that is I'm very, very happy in Barcelona. Now, how to interpret these words? I think there is a glimpse of hope that Frenkie could end up agreeing to extending his contract and deferring his salary and / reducing it later, because he's said it multiple times that he's very happy to be in Barcelona, not just the team but the city itself. His wife is very happy in Barcelona. They're about to have a kid, so I think it could be a good news, or there's a little bit of ray of hope. Now there is talks about the club they're gonna want to use Xabi Hernandez. That Xabi could perhaps nudge Frenkie de Jong into the right direction. Of course, Xabi Hernandez has been very fundamental and instrumental in many signings because of his ability to convince players whether to come to Barcelona. So maybe he can convince Frenkie of helping out the club because the club really need it. Now, 2 more brief bits of news, and then we'll end the news and we'll do the chat section. But today, the club officially announced the contract renewal of Alejandro Balde. Of course, I've told you about this multiple times. Contract renewal was done back in the summer. It was extended from set to expire in 2024. That means in January, he could have easily started negotiating with other clubs. So extended from 2024 to 2028, 1 billion euro release clause. His first contract as a first-team player. Great news, of course, because Alejandro Balde is the present and the future of that left back position, or even the entire left side of the field, because he ends up taking up the whole space anyway. And I had predicted that the club would announce it today if Barcelona won the Champions League. Guess I wasn't wrong, because it was announced today. And tomorrow will be official presentation, quote unquote. He'll do the whole signing in front of the cameras, little presentation in the Ciudad Deportiva. No press conference, so no questions for the reporters, but reporters will be present to take the pictures. Now, the next will be, of course, Lamine Yamal. He has, of course, extended until 2026, so expect an official announcement. I don't know, maybe Friday, maybe beginning of next week. I doubt they'll do it tomorrow, since tomorrow will be Alejandro Balde's day. I'm sure Barcelona not going to want to rain on his parade. Maybe Friday, maybe beginning of next week. But Lamine Yamal announcement should be next. I do want to do a little bit. We do have a little bit more time. I do want to talk about something, but it's not Barcelona related, but I thought it was relevant because UEFA has opened an investigation into PSG for the transfers of Abdou Diallo, Marc Berratti, and Julian Drexler, because these three players have all been transferred to the Qatari League. And curiously enough, the teams they were transferred to are owned by the same emir that owns PSG. So UEFA have opened an investigation into whether PSG were trying to kind of like, bend the financial fair play rules, or, that's what they do. And there is the possibility that if UEFA find PSG guilty of anything, that they could reduce their wage cap by 85 million euros. We'll see. Again, not Barcelona related, but I thought it was an interesting news because PSG have been pulling crap like this forever, spending hundreds of millions every season or every transfer market on players. Nobody says anything. But God forbid Barcelona signs someone for 3.5 million euros, and all of a sudden everybody's looking into Barcelona's financial fair play rule. All right. That is all the news. We can still do a few more comments. We still have time. So why not? And Lincoln says, I personally think with this squad, we have good things to look out for, if not this year, in the near future. Definitely I think this season we have a lot to look forward to. But yeah, next season, our squad is so young. Balde is only 19. Araujo's 22, 23. Christensen is 26, but that's prime year. So Kunde is 23 or 24, something like that. Pedri, Gavi, Lamine Yamal. We have so many young players with such long careers ahead of them. And it's a lot to look forward to. And these players, as they get older, they get better. And as they play together, they get better together as well. So the only way is up right now. The way Barcelona have structured the squad is that the only way is up. Unlike under Bartomeu, where the squad was just aging and getting worse and worse and worse. And instead of, replacing these players, he was renewing their contracts and giving them higher salaries. My God. All right, let's see. Crispy Chicken, who says, I don't think we need Vermeeren. We have good players in our youth team. We should give them the chance to prove they can play for Barca. Look, I'm not saying Barcelona are going to sign Vermeeren. Like any clubs, Barcelona have to keep their options open. Yes, we have players in the academy that we can monitor their growth, but Barcelona have also to look other places because you need more options. Whenever a club wants to sign for a player for a certain position, they don't just say we want this guy and that's it and let's go after him. They have like a list of 10, 20, 30 players that can play in that position because there's so many factors. There's so many factors that need to come together when you can sign a player. First of all, the player has to want to come. Second of all, the club where he currently plays has to want to sell him. Then you have to agree on the numbers with the player himself, whether he agrees to the salary you offer him or not. Then the club that you sign that owns him currently or employs him has to agree to your transfer fee. Then your league has to approve the whole thing. UEFA has to approve. There's so many factors, and transfers fall through all the time. So when club wants to sign for a position, they have a list of 10, 20, 30 players for that position, and they go by the list. Okay, this guy didn't work out. Next. Okay, next. So when I'm saying they're tracking him, I don't mean they're going to, sign Vermeeren tomorrow. It's just one of the many options that Barcelona are tracking, including the ones in the academy. Jesus says, Mo, what do you think about Balde's final crosses into the box? I think he has to improve. I've been seeing his comments a lot lately. I don't know what it is. For the past 2 days, I've been seeing a lot of people commenting this. Is there a margin? Can Balde improve? Absolutely, of course. He is 19 years old. He has plenty of time to improve, plenty of margin to improve, high ceiling to improve. But I don't see where the complaints are coming from, because Balde has assisted many times and he has pretty good crosses. Yeah, sometimes he misses, but everybody's going to miss. Can they improve? Sure. But are they bad right now? No. Curtis says, I'm kind of concerned about Felix and Atletico. If continues to play excellent, they have demand. Okay, so I've touched about this many times before. I have no doubts, and I will put money down on the table, that Laporta and Jorge Mendes already have a plan for that. I would not be worried about it. There's already rumors and reports saying that Barcelona have already agreed to an option to buy with Atletico Madrid, kind of like a private clause between the two that's not spelled out in the contract that was presented to La Liga. But regardless of those rumors, regardless of those reports, I have zero doubt in my mind that Laporta and Mendes did not already think of this. I mean, we're talking about Laporta, some of the brightest minds when it comes to running a club. And we're talking about Jorge Mendes, the craziest, sneakiest, best Asian you're going to find. And you tell me they haven't thought about this option? Of course they have. These are not amateurs. These are people who know what they're doing. I have no doubt that they thought about this and that they've already have a plan in place for this, because Barcelona's plan has always been to sign Joao Felix. The only reason they signed him on loan was because the financial fair play rule in the economic situation. And plus, Atletico Madrid don't even want him. So I have no doubts that Barcelona will not only keep him, but that they already have a plan to keep him. All right, Young Braveheart says, I understand the route to keep bringing in youth players. If we can grow some more talent, we can start to sell players to help us out. Barcelona is not a selling club. So that's not, I mean, no big club is a selling club. You know, the whole sign players very low, grow them, and then sell them on high price. That's the business model of other clubs. Big clubs like Barcelona, like Real Madrid, their model is to sign players to win trophies, not sign players to sell them. So if you grow a player and he becomes great, Barcelona's going to keep him. And they're going to keep him until he's no longer great, and then they sell him or offload him. They're not going to sign a player to grow him and then sell him for a high price. That's not Barcelona's business model. You know, if a player is great, they're going to keep him to win them trophies. Chuchu says, Balde is 19. You'll need to stop asking him to improve now at 19. Alba was nowhere near Balde. Agreed. And Mark says, are the secret clauses for the Joaos legally binding at all, or is it just handshake deal? I mean, if there's a contract in place, it'd be legally binding. It's just it wasn't necessarily presented to La Liga. So La Liga might not be aware of it, but there's still an agreement between the clubs. All right. So that's where it's at. Anyways, guys, that is it for today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the donations. I will see you in tomorrow's video. And of course, as always, be scarce.